call me Mystic Mac because I predict these things.
Andreas Gustaffson takes on Trevin Giles this Saturday at UFC Fight Night Vegas 107. And this is a short notice fight for Trevin Giles. Gustaffson was originally supposed to be taking on Jeremiah Wells, who had to pull out. So Trevin Giles is stepping up on about a week's notice to take on Gustaffson. From what I can see on the interwebs, Trevin Giles was not in a training camp for anybody. So we'll see if he comes in shape, because I know Gustaffson's gonna be coming in shape. So Gustaffson is 34 years old. He's 6 foot with a 74-inch reach, 11-2 in his record. This will be his UFC debut, coming off of a TKO win over Pat Hitlick back in August. He's a very tenacious dude. Kind of like, I think this dude's he's just an animal, honestly. Was on the Greco-Roman national team for Sweden. It's a very high pressure, aggressive style, really good cardio, throws really heavy hands on the feet. Not the most technical though. Kind of relies on his grit and toughness and forward pressure and just winging heavy shots. Keeps his chin high at times, which is concerning in this fight, because Trevin Giles is a really good boxer, and I think that he can find openings against Gustaffson as he pushes forward and throws heavy bombs. But he's very strong in the clinch. He's going to be looking to push forward aggressively, very fast, throwing heavy hands, get Giles backed up against the cage, where he can work in the clinch, where he's just very strong, looking to deal tons of damage there with elbows and knees. Does a good job cranking up the underhooks and controlling his opponent along the cage. Just really beating up dudes on the regional scene from the clinch and the ground. Had some really good fights on the regional scene. Had an absolute war with Tony Lampinen, I think it was 2 years ago. So the guy's dangerous. He's a finisher. He only has 2 losses, and they were by decision. One of them a split. Hasn't been doing this very long. Made his pro debut back in 2019, so he was 28 years old when he made his pro debut. So Trevin Giles is definitely going to be the more experienced guy. I think he's been in the UFC since 2017, so he's been in the UFC longer than this guy's been fighting pro. So definitely going to be a tough test for Gustaffson, and I think that it would definitely be a much different conversation we'd be having if Trevin Giles had a full training camp. But Trevin Giles, the problem, Trevin Giles, he is 32 years old. He's 6 foot with a 74-inch reach and 16-7 in his career. So these guys are going to be pretty similar frame-wise. I do think Gustaffson's going to be the bigger guy, which is just crazy, because Trevin Giles used to fight at middleweight and has some I think his win, he's a win over Roman Dolidze at middleweight. But on a 3-fight losing streak, so doesn't have tons of momentum. Coming off of a loss against Mike Mallet back in November, where he just couldn't pull the trigger, just wasn't getting anything going. Before that was TKO'd by Carlos Prates, and before that was choked out in like the first 90 seconds against Gabriel Bonfim. He's a really good boxer though, has really fast hands and power. He's a jiu-jitsu brown belt, definitely fought the better competition, has more experience, especially at the high level in the UFC, fought the much better guys. Doesn't have many good wins, honestly. Preston Parsons split decision. I think Preston Parsons is underrated. He's a very high pressure wrestler as well. He was able to get the decision there. Louis Cauchy got a decision over him, but I don't know. I think Andreas Gustaffson gets this one done. He was the guy that was in training camp. Has so much more momentum than Trevin Giles right now. He's on a 3-fight winning streak. Like I said, only lost by decision. Got a decent chin. Doesn't really, hasn't been finished, obviously, in his career. Hasn't really been hurt that I've seen. Like I said, Giles is just on a 3-fight losing streak. 0 momentum in this one. I don't know why he's taking this on short notice. I get it, you're doing a favor for the UFC, but also at the same time, if you're on a 4-fight losing streak, you might get cut. If you lose this one and you lose another one, you're definitely going to get cut from the UFC. Just seems like a very risky move to take when your back's already against the wall. So I'm wondering what he sees in this fight, if he thinks it's a winnable fight, which I don't see that, because Gustaffson is a very high pressure dude with like really good cardio. He's going to be pushing a really high pace. So if Trevin Giles hasn't been training, if he hasn't been keeping that gas tank up, I think he's going to wilt under the pressure of Gustaffson. But who knows? He could be in a training camp. you know, or he could be, you know, I'm on a 3-fight skid in the UFC, I might be done, I might as well, you know, get a quick payday on the way out. I don't know what his mindset is going into this, but I don't like the decision to take this fight on short notice. Maybe he thinks that, you know, this guy's making his UFC debut, he hasn't fought anybody, I think he can beat him, like, who knows. But we've seen Giles struggle in the grappling department in the past. He's been submitted 3 times, he's been finished by strikes 3 times. Gustaffson is he's just such a savage. He has a good chin. He's going to be pushing a high pace. You know, Giles, he's been taken down. Bonfim took him down. Parsons took him down. Louis Cauchy took him down. Like, Dricus du Plessis took him down. I just see Andreas Gustaffson getting respect on the feet, running across the octagon, getting him up against the cage, and just beating him up there, getting takedowns, and just putting tons of pressure on Trevin Giles. I don't think he's going to be the bigger guy in here. I don't think he's going to be the stronger guy. I think he'll be the faster guy on the feet, but I just don't know if he's going to have the distance and be able to keep Gustaffson off of him long enough to get his boxing going. I think Gustafson's going to get him along the cage, get his takedowns, beat him up, and just wear on him. He's going to have the better gas tank, I think, coming in on the training camp, and I just don't think this is a recipe for success for Trevin Giles. I don't think Gustaffson will sub him. He's not really a submission guy. I don't think he even has any submissions on his record. Shoulder lock back in the day. But I can definitely see him getting the KO, TKO standing or on the ground, or more than likely getting the decision, just outworking, out-hustling, out-damaging Trevin Giles, taking this on short notice. So I'm going to go with Gustaffson to get this one done. Thanks.